Testing, testing, testing. Let's see. Okay, okay. Okay. אהלן, מה נשמע? מה קורה? ברוכים הבאים. Hello, what's up? Welcome to this live stream. I know that nobody's connected right now, nobody's watching because here in Argentina it's 2:23 a.m. But I know that when you stream on YouTube, the video stays there and you can watch it later. So I hope that anytime soon you can enjoy this video. Now, my idea with this channel is to be able to teach you Hebrew in Hebrew. And if you notice, 90% of the content tends to be in Hebrew. But I've been thinking that for some situations, it's just impossible to explain things in Hebrew if you don't know Hebrew. So I should also speak in English for some occasions, all right? Not all the time. And I think this is a great opportunity to explain to you some things that are pretty awesome in Hebrew, in fact, because when you actually begin to realize these things that I'm going to explain to you, you notice that Hebrew can be so easy, really, really easy. Now, I want to begin with a method that I've been using with all my students for practicing the Aleph Bet. Let's say that you're a newcomer to Hebrew and you have no prior experience, you have no prior knowledge in Hebrew, and you want to know what Hebrew is about, okay? Well, first of all, don't be afraid of the new letters, okay? There's a different set of letters, but that doesn't mean that you cannot learn it. So you have to understand that you are already using letters like A, B, C, D. Now, what are letters, in fact? Essentially, what are letters? Letters are representations of sounds. So if you know how to pair a sound to a letter, most chances are that you will be able to learn a language. Simply as that. As simple as that. Now, first letter in Hebrew is Aleph. So far, so good. Where do we begin? What do we do once we know that first letter in Hebrew is Aleph? You can tell me, okay, I see there's an Aleph. Which sound does the Aleph have? What's the sound of the letter Aleph? And that's a very good question. Let's begin by saying that the letter Aleph is mute. The letter Aleph doesn't have a sound in itself. But that doesn't mean that the letter Aleph won't sound, if that makes any sense. Now, unlike other languages, Hebrew cannot be learned if you don't know the vowels symbols. Okay, I don't want to get into the names of the symbols because at this point it's not relevant really. But basically you have symbols that represent sounds. And you can tell here all these symbols underneath the letters. These are vowels. These are vowel sounds. Let's look at it as if it were syllables. Let's say that each letter in itself constitutes a syllable, if that makes any sense. Let's see. We have the first letter in this word, that is Aleph. We say that this letter Aleph is mute. So we have to pair a sound to this letter in order to make sense, in order to get some significance out of this letter. So we have an Aleph and we have a vowel sound A. Okay? And sorry, it's obvious for me, but probably it's not obvious for you. But Hebrew is read from right to left. Okay? So we go all the way to the left. I like to see this as a scanning movement. Okay? We are scanning from top to bottom, from right to left. From top to bottom, from right to left. Of course, beginning with the right. So here we have a syllable, which is A. Mute sound plus vowel A. A. Then the second letter is Reish. Reish. And please don't make fun of me, of my pronunciation, because I know that I cannot pronounce the R like Israelis, but please don't make fun of me, alright? So we have A, and then we have Reish or Reish, okay? Don't worry if you cannot pronounce it like Israelis. In fact, nobody cares, okay? But the important thing is that you're pronouncing Reish or a Reish or a Reish and not any other sound, okay? That's what really matters here. Okay, so we have A, we have R, Reish. Now, notice something very interesting. The name of the letter will hint us to its sound. So, the letter Reish, its sound is R. This is pretty obvious, but I always like to explain it anyway. I don't want to take anything for granted. So, excuse me if that sounds kind of, really obvious, but I have to mention it every time. Let's continue. We have A, we have R, and then we have the letter Gimel. Gimel. R, G. Then we have a vowel E. Vowel E, R, G. After that we have the letter Nun. R, G, N. Now, have you noticed these two dots, one on top of the other? Well, in this case, these dots will indicate that we are not scanning for any vowels. Okay? It will be like a traffic light when it's green. These two dots indicate that you have to keep going. Just keep your current speed. That means keep your current sound and keep going. So, ar, gen. Then we have the letter tet. Tet. If you remember, when I told you that the name of the letter will hint as to its sound, so you can tell that this letter, it's a T sound. T. So, ar, gen, T. This dot, this lonely dot here, means E. That's an E sound. Now, we have an E sound and we have the letter Yud. Now, the letter Yud, it's also an E. You might think that we have a double E because it's kind of logical to think that. But I have bad news because Hebrew is 80% counterintuitive. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but there are lots of things in Hebrew that are counterintuitive. So in this case, we only have one E sound, okay? So we have A, R, Gen, T, and then we have a Nun. Nun. And then we have an A sound. Ar, Gen, T, Na. And at the end of the word we have the letter Hey. Hey. Now, this sound is kind of tricky, or may seem tricky, but it's not. The hey sound is like in English when you say hey, okay? So it's not an a and it's not a ha, it's a ha. Like when you say, how are you? How are you? But, remember I said that Hebrew tends to be counterintuitive? Okay. Whenever you find an hey at the end of the word, it doesn't sound like ha. It sounds simply a. Okay? So let's read this word completely. Ar, gen, ti, na. Very good. So we have been able to read our first word in Hebrew. Congratulations. Now some of you may ask, wait, but I thought the name of the country was Argentina or Argentina. Why? Why do they say Argentina? Well, that's the way they pronounce Argentina in Israel and in Hebrew, okay? So, nothing to do about it. You just have to accept the facts as they are, and that's Argentina. So remember, if you travel to Israel, you have to say Argentina. All right? Next. Now we have the letter bet. So, letter bet. If we have a letter bet, like in this case with a dot inside, that means that this letter bet is going to sound bet, bet, bet. If we didn't have this dot, it would sound vet. Excuse me. So we have bet. If we didn't have the dot, it would be vet. Next country. We have bet. And then if you remember, I'm sorry. If you remember, these two dots will tell us to keep going. It's like a green traffic light. So this will sound as B, B. And then we keep going. Now remember this letter? Where have you seen this letter before? Where have we seen this letter before? This is a Reich. Okay, in Argentina. We have a R. And then we have an A. Bra. 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 Now, pay attention to this. This letter, the name of this letter is Sein. Okay? Sein. Sein. So, as its name suggests, the sound of this letter will be Z. Braz. 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 Okay, so remember in Argentina, we had a Yud and we had this tiny dot, this lonely dot. Okay, that vowel is an E. Okay, that's an E sound. So we have Brazil, Brazil, and it's one sound, not two sounds. So Brazil. So you can guess what the last letter is, right? You can guess what the sound is. And the sound is L. But the name of this letter is Lamed. Brazil. Brazil. Very good. So we have been able to read two words. All right? Let's continue. Okay, now probably you can tell by the flag that this is a country that begins with the letter G. Okay? Well, you're right, but let's see why. Now, this letter is Gimel. Gimel. If you want to take notes, it's fine, but don't worry because this video will stay here on the channel, so you can go back to this video and watch it and rewatch it as many times as necessary. Okay, so this letter is Gimel. Now, if you remember, I told you that when you have the name of the letter, it's easier to remember what the sound of the letter is. So, letter Gimel, sound G. And where have we seen this letter before? In Argentina. Okay? Gimel, G. Argentina. Okay, so we know that the sound of this letter is G. Now, at this point, I think this is gonna be so easy. It's gonna be piece of cake for you because you already know all these letters. So we have Gimel, and A vowel. This is Ga. Now remember I told you that the Aleph is mute? Okay, so Ga and mute, Ga, that's it. Then we continue to the left and we have our friend, the letter Nun. N, Gan, okay, Gan. And then this is an A sound, vowel sound, A, Ga, Na. And remember when I told you that the hey at the end of the word sounds like an A? Okay, so we have Ga, Na, Ga, Na. So if you were able to read this word, congratulations, because it means that with 3 words you are getting exactly the point of Hebrew, which is very logical. Okay, it's not counterintuitive. It's sometimes it can be counterintuitive, but its logic is perfect. So, and one more thing, Hebrew is not a phonetic language like English. Have you noticed that when you write words like nature, for example, um, and you can say, okay, so if I see this pattern, everything is going to sound like nature. But then you have a word like mature, and you see it's counterintuitive. You have to know the word before. So it's the same in Hebrew. Okay, let's continue. Now we have the letter Dalet. Dalet. Okay, so this is the letter Aleph. Sorry, Dalet, Dalet. And let's see, Dalet. Now you can tell me that this letter, it resembles the letter Resh, right? Well, let's see how the Resh looks. This is Resh. This is Resh. Now notice that the Resh ends in a curvature. It has a curvature here, but the letter Dalet it's made up of 2 lines. 1 line, 2 lines. Okay, 1 stroke, 2 strokes. So remember when writing Hebrew that the letter Resh has a curvature. Okay, let's see. Now, don't mind this dot inside the Dalet. Okay, at this point it's not relevant. It actually just make just pretend it's not there. Okay, so the Dalet, the. Remember, the name of the letter always hints as to its sound. So we have Dalet, and then this is a E sound. De, de, de. Now, this letter should be familiar to you at this point. This is the letter Nun, Nun. Then, and we have again E. So this is de, ne, de, ne. Now you might think, wait, but shouldn't be here these 2 dots because it's Denmark? Okay, wait, remember this is Hebrew and some country names are written differently. Okay, that's why this exercise is so good for you, because you learn to read, not to try to make the names be as you want. And when I have lessons with my students, I can tell who is actually trying to read and who doesn't, because if they are speaking students, they tend to say Dinamarca, and if they are English speaking students, they tend to say Denmark. But okay, let's continue with the reading. Dene, dene. Then we have the letter mem, mem. So mem, mem, dene, dene, and a sound. Denema, and then our friend the letter reish, reish, reish. Denemar, denemar, and you can guess what the last sound is. Now this is the letter kuf. Okay, so Denemark, Denemark. Very good. So after 4 words, we already know lots of letters. Let's continue with the next letter. Now, this is the letter hey, remember? And now this letter begins, it's at the beginning of a word. So, letter hey. To remind you, the sound of hey is like when you say hey, hey you, how are you? Okay, keep that in mind. So, letter hey. How do you say India in Israel? Well, let's see. Now, the hey somewhat works like the word aleph, in the sense that it doesn't have a sound by itself. Okay, the only sound that the hey has is the aspiration sound, if that's a word. So it depends on the letter that it's next to it. So basically, this is the letter vav, letter vav. Now, the vav, as you can tell, here we have 2 vavs, okay? So, whenever you have the vav with a dot on top, that's o. On top, o. Top, o. Okay? And whenever you have a vav with a dot to the left, it's u. So, ho, ho, ho. You see, you mix both sounds. The hey and the vav with the dot, which is a o. Ho. Then we have the dalet. Dalet, dalet, ho, do. Ho, do. So if you ever go to Israel and you hear about Hodu, they are talking about India. Okay? Next country. Now we have Vav. Remember, we already watched this, we've seen this letter before. This is the Vav. This is the Vav. And let's see what do we have here. Now, remember that the Vav, if it had a dot on top, it's an O, and if it has a dot to the left, it's an U. U, U. Well, if the Vav if the word begins with Vav, begins with Vav, it's a V. V. But wait, you already told me that there is a bet, and the bet without the dot inside, it's a V. Yes, I'm afraid you have 2 different V sounds in Hebrew. But don't worry, it's not as complicated as it seems. So, we already know this is the Vav, and here it's gonna sound like a V. V. So we have V, V, ye, V, ye. Then we have the tet. Remember this letter, tet. V, yet, V, yet, and this traffic light. Remember the traffic light? We keep going, we don't stop, we are not looking for vowels. V, yet, na, m. This letter is called mem sofit. Mem sofit. Literally, that means ending mem, or mem at the end. Okay, this is, as its name indicates, this letter mem goes only at the ending. So let's say, for instance, if you have a word like, you want to write a word like Harlem, okay? This is the mem you will use at the end. If you want to write a word like shalom, shalom, this is the word that you will use, okay? The letter, sorry. So remember this, there is a mem at the end and a different letter which is called also mem, but you only use this at the ending of words. Very good. Let's keep going with the next country. Okay, as you can tell by the flag, this country begins with a Z. 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 Remember, Sein. Sein. That's the name of this letter. Sein. So, let's see what we have here. We have Sein and we have E. Z. 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 Now, Z, this is the mem, okay? Mem regular. Mem regular. This is not the mem sofit. So it's not at the ending of the word, so that means that we write the mem regular, the normal mem, the regular mem. Two dots, traffic light, green traffic light. We keep going. Zim, zim, bu, zimba, 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 bu, zimbab, zimbab, u, zimbab, u, e. Remember, these are e, vowel e. And of course, the hey at the end of the word doesn't sound like a h, it's just mute. Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe. Very good. Next country. Okay, now this is really, there is no way you can guess this because it's, I guess it's the only language that it has such a weird name. This country has such a weird name. Okay, this is letter het, 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 het. And if you're asking, I always get confused with this flag, but this is the flag of Ivory Coast, all right? So if you're watching us from Ivory Coast, greetings to you as well. And this is the het, okay? Het, het. Okay, now this is the name of this country are two Hebrew words, okay? This is, well, Hof, it will be the coast, the coastline, and Ha Shenav, this is Ivory. Let's see what we have here. So, het. Vav with dot on top. Ho, ho, ho. I started to sound like Santa Claus. Ho. And then we have, this is the first time we see this letter. This is Fe Sofit. Now, if you remember, we already encountered the Mem Sofit. Now, this letter Fe Sofit goes only at the end. And as its name indicates, it's a f sound. So we have ho, f, hof, hof. As we say, coastline, coast. Hof. Now, here comes our friend, the letter He. Hof, ha, hof, ha, hof, ha. And we have the letter Shin. I'm sorry. Okay, so hof, ha, shi, shi. Now, this is very important. The letter Shin, if it has this dot on top to the right, it's gonna sound like a sh, sh. Now, it can be also that you encounter the letter Shin with a dot to the left. So, to the right, sh, to the left, s, and the name of the letter becomes Sin when it has a dot to the left. So we have Hof, Ha, Shi, Hof, Ha, Shi, E, vowel E, Hof, Ha, She, Hof, Ha, She, and then you remember the letter Nun, our old friend, Hof, Ha, Shen. This is a green traffic light, keep going, Hof, Ha, Shen, Ha, Hof, Ha, Shen, Ha, and now this bet, it's not bet, it's vet. So this is gonna be Hof ha shen hav. Hof ha shen hav. Hof ha shen hav. Very good. Let's continue to our next letter. And we are halfway. Now we have the letter tet. Okay, letter tet. And as it names indicates, the sound is a T. And we have already encountered this letter in Argentina. Okay, so let's see. We have a tet, tet, and vav with a dot to the left. That's tu, tu, tu. Then we have the letter resh, resh. Tur, green traffic light. Let's continue to the left. Tur, k, kuf, tur, k, I, Turki, a, Turkia, Turkia. Just allow me 1 second to see if any of you is writing in the comments, because okay, no, nobody's writing anything, so I'll keep going. Okay, so we have Turkey. Now let's move on to the next country, and let's see, we have the letter Yud, Yud, Yud. Okay, now one thing I love about this letter Yud is that it's always a vowel. It's always a vowel sound, and 93% of the cases it sounds like an E, like in this case. So remember when I told you that if you see the shin with a dot to the left, it's a S? Okay, Now, this is the case. We have E, is, then we have green traffic light. That means that we can continue. Is, r, a, is, ra, e, l. Is, ra, el. Is, ra, el. Okay? Awesome. So you see that most of the letters we have already read, and they keep on repeating, they keep on appearing. So I think that at this point you are able to remember at least 60% of the letters. Okay, so let's continue with the next country. So this letter, as you notice, it has a dot inside. So when this letter has a dot inside, it's called kaf, kaf, kaf. Okay, so let's see. Now this is tricky. This is kind of tricky. We have k, and then we have v. K, v, k, v. But you have to pronounce it quickly, and that way you don't feel like a tongue twister. So k, v, kve, kve, okay, kve. And since we have double vav, whenever you find this double vav, that's a v, that's a very accentuated v, very stressed. So this is kve, and then we have the yud, which is an e, kve, e, and this is the letter tav. Okay, this is the final letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So we have kveit, 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 kveit. Rolls off your tongue. Now the letter lamed. Lamed. We've already seen this letter before, so let's proceed. Okay. Lamed. Green light. Continue. Go on. Lva, 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 nun, vav with dot on top, lvano, lvano, and this is the nun sofit. This is the same letter as this one, but sofit. Remember, sofit at the end of the word only. So lvanon, lvanon, lvanon. Now, what's the thing? That it's really difficult to pronounce lvanon. So, in some cases, when we have these two dots, we tend to pronounce as an e, a short e. In this case, it can be used, of course, because otherwise it's impossible to pronounce it. So, Lebanon, Lebanon. Good. Let's keep going. Now, at this point, I think you are already familiar with this letter, and this is the letter mem. Mem. So, mem sound m. And look at this beauty. We have only A's. This is like feeling like a great student because you get straight A's. I'm sorry, it's a bad joke. Okay, so we have mem, and then we have a, ma. Now, dalet, mad, mad, a, mada, mada, gimel, madaga, 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 and letter samech, samech. Now, one way that you can remember that the letter samech sounds like a s, it's if you relate, if you think about the zero, okay? Madagas, Madagas, Kuf, A, Madagascar, Madagascar, Madagascar. Very good. Next country. So this country starts with Nun. So we have Nun, Nun, Nun. Remember the name, Nun. Okay. Nun, I, Ni, Ni. Then we have Gimel, Nig, Nig. Vowel E, Nig, E, Nige. Then we have Reish, Reish, Reish. Niger, I, Nigeria, A. Okay, so I apologize. I missed the vowel sounds here, but it should have a sound, okay? But still, notice this. Although there is no indication of a vowel here, you were able to read Nigeria because you already know the flag and because you already know the hint. You can take the hint that this is Nigeria. Well, you see, in Hebrew, we don't use these dots. These are only used for learning to read because otherwise it's impossible. But believe me, that once you know the letters and you start to learn a few words, then you try not to use the nikud. This is called nikud because it really makes you read slower. So when you know a few words, you just try to avoid the nikud at any cost. Okay, we're almost done. We have a few letters to go, so bear with me. We have a samech, samech, the round letter that resembles a zero. Now, this country's name is really easy. This is piece of cake. So we have a samech, and we have a yud, I, si. And as you remember, this is the nun sofit. Sin, 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 sin. Okay? So this is the name of China in Hebrew, Sin. Let's continue. Now, pay attention to this letter. This is the letter Ain. We already have the letter Aleph. Remember, the Aleph is mute. And then we have the Hey, that depending on which vowels are indicated next to it, it's going to be the sound that it makes. Well, the Ain, it's pretty similar in that regard. Ain, Ain, Ain. Okay. So since we have an E here, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce this sound because it's a glottal sound that Latin American speakers we don't have, and I guess that I'm never gonna be able to pronounce this sound. I can try to fake it, but it's gonna sound something like "oh," okay, like a sound that you make with your throat. That is very common in Arabic and also in Hebrew. But why am I telling you this? Because if you cannot pronounce this letter, making these guttural sounds, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. You just have to pay attention to which vowel is indicated and you just say this vowel. So in this case, this will be an E. Okay? Plain and simple E. E, I, R, Ir, Irak, Irak, Irak. Easy peasy. Okay, Aleph, Kuf. Next country. Okay, this letter is very interesting. This is the letter Pei. It has a dot inside, so it sounds P, P, P. Now, if it didn't have a dot, it would be F, F, like F. Okay, and you can, at this point, you can tell what the letters and what the word is, or you can guess it. So we have P, P. We have Vav with dot on top. Po, po, po. Then we have Lamed. Lamed, pol, pol, I, poli, and Nun Sofit, Polin, Polin. Piece of cake. Real easy. Okay, and this is a very beautiful sound. The letter Tzadik. Tzadik. Now, if you've been to Israel, you may have noticed that in Israel this letter is called Tzadik. Well, it's actually, its name, it's not Tzadik, it's Tzadi. But since after the Tzadik comes Kuf, when you recite the Hebrew alphabet, you say Tzadik Kuf, it may sound like Tzadik, but its real name is Tzadi. So, letter Tzadi. Now, how do we say friends in Hebrew? And this really rolls off your tongue. This is a, do you say like a compound sound? Because it's really compound sound. You have to mix the T and the Z together. So this is like a Z, 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 Z. So, Z, A, Ta, 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 Ta. It's not za, it's not za, it's not sa, it's tsa, okay? Begins with a T and then a S, tsar, tsa. Then we have reish, tsar, tsar, tsar. Green light, tsarf. Here is the pay. And since it doesn't have a dot inside, it's an F. So tzarfa, and this is a tav. Tav, the last letter in the alphabet. Tzarfat, tzarfat, tzarfat. Okay, you can practice this, and as you see, it sounds really, really easy, right? Okay. Next country. This letter is Kuf. Kuf. Actually, the name of the letter is Kof. Kof. But everybody, including me, calls it Kuf. Okay? So let's say it can be called Kuf or Kof. Whatever you like the most. Okay. And at this point, I guess that you'll be reading this in no time. Almost instantly, if not instantly. So, ko, lo, mem, kolom, and we keep going to the left. Kolom, b, kolomb, I, Colombia, Colombia. Easy, right? Very, very easy. Okay, Colombia. Let's continue to the next word. Okay, here's an old friend. He has been with us since the beginning. This is the letter Reish. Reish. Remember letter Reish? Okay, let's see what letter Reish Reis, or Reis has for us in store. So, Ru, 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 S, Ru, Rus, Rus, E, A, Rusia, Rusia. Easy, right? Now, this is the one before the last, so we have covered the whole alphabet almost. We have only 2 letters to go. Okay, so this is the Shin. Shin. Why? Because it has a dot on top to the right. So this is gonna sound like Shin. Let's see which name of which country we have. Very good. So remember when we had the flag of Kuwait, that its name in Hebrew was Kuwait? Well, here we have we follow the same rule. Va, okay, va. It's a very stressed va with a lot of energy, a lot of power. So shva, 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 it's. Here we have a W. Schweiz, Schweiz, Schweiz. I don't remember exactly, but I think, and excuse me, sorry if I'm mistaken, but this W is called something like a diphthong. If I'm wrong, I apologize in advance. Let's get to our last Hebrew letter. We have covered the whole alphabet, and the last Hebrew letter, our friend Tav, Tav, Tav. So let's see what's in store for us. Okay, so please don't laugh. I know this is really easy to read, okay? But you know, if I've done this for 21 letters, I want to do it one more time, and don't be mad at me. I know that you already can read this, but let's state the obvious, that this is a tav and this is an a, so this is ta, okay? Ta. And then we have aleph, then we have aleph, and we have e, tai. Okay, and I'm gonna take a chance to explain something, a question that might be arising at this very moment, and it's a valid question. You say, why do you have an aleph? Couldn't you just write the tav and then the yud and put the vowel, and it will still be written the same, right? Well, that's a huge no. Why? Because, as I told you before, Hebrew is actually made for those who can read it without vowels. So everything is thought about in advance in a context of no vowel. So when you read this without vowels, without this nikud, without these symbols, somebody has to know that they have to let you know that this is Thailand, Thai. And for that reason, the aleph in this case goes with the vowel a. Okay, just take my word for it. I don't remember phonetically why it is, but it's something like that. Okay, so Thai, and then we have lamed, and then we have a, Taila, and then we have nun, Thailand, Thailand. Okay, very good. I see that we have 4 people online. And I really want to thank you for staying all the way listening to me explaining these Hebrew letters. And well, I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this live stream. To give you a little background, this is my first live stream, and I'm a bit camera shy, so that's why I cannot show my face, because I'm really camera shy. But well, I hope that you have enjoyed this live stream. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate, just write to me in the comments below. And well, this is the channel that you can go to whenever you have questions regarding Hebrew. And I really thank you all for being here, for having stayed till the end. And I'll be seeing you in the next live stream. So have a great day. Goodbye. Later out.